spot.
Great. So you did. I'll get to you in a second here, but we're having a little moment.
Paw.
Oh,
You into a lot of trouble, mate. You have that moment. You've earned it.
Yeah.
Paw. Oh, you want a treat?
You did like all my favorite shows as a kid.
I did.
Step
as a
by
kid?
Step, Boy Meets World.
I did.
Just, it's pretty cool to see you right now.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
And Richard Burton over here. I liked it.
Yes.
that was your Burton right there, the wink?
Yeah, that's all I got. That's all that's left.
That's all that's left.
The residue. I'm back in the Badlands now.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like, you guys are in the middle of shooting everything.
Yeah?
Yes.
And I was just asking everyone else, and I know this is the hardest question because everyone wants answers. You can't give answers, but you want to be nice and try and give answers. So what can you say about season 2?
Julie.
Oh, yeah, give it to her.
I know. Thanks, Grant.
Tough one. I'll give it to her.
Yeah.
Thanks, Grant.
That's the great thing about sci-fi is it promotes strong female characters. So Julie will answer all the hard questions today.
No, I mean, I think what happened at the end of season 1 is the reset button was hit, and we see in season 2 the whole world has changed, and all the characters have as well. With my character specifically, Amanda starts in a much darker place. She lost her job, she lost her sister, she thinks her sister's disappeared, she doesn't know why. She's in a very, very dark place and unemployed. And when you're unemployed and you lost the one person you love, you don't have much to cling to except a good glass of scotch.
She's on the loudmouth
She's a
soup.
drinker this season.
She's on the Wawi sauce. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's in a very dark place.
Yeah.
And what about you?
My
Same
bloke's,
question.
he's always in a dark place. So, but he's, what Julie says is true, is we've discovered in the first season, we've gotten to know the characters, we've gotten to know the world. We've gotten to figure out what the 7 races are, all these different cultures, the languages and everything else. And then what they've done is they've basically gone, okay, now you know what they're all about, now you know what they all want. We'll strip all of that away from them. So everyone is back not having what it is we know they want. And they're now in struggle to just get back to basics, get back to where they began in the series. And my guy included, his daughter's disappeared. He has nothing to do with, officially to do with Defiance anymore. He's back roaming around the Badlands, searching.
How are you talking about just the intricacies? How did you all wrap your heads around the story? Like 40 years from now, all that stuff has happened to get to where the show starts.
Well, the show itself was 5 years in development before any of us even showed up. So they had pretty much a Bible written of how each character got there from like 2013 before the war. So it was a lot of research and a lot of picking the minds of all the creative team behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of learning on the run. Some of the mythology, and I think that this happens in any creative process, some of the mythology is actually evolved with the creation of the game and the making of the show. So there's a great deal of the rules, if you like, that we only came up with as we were shooting. For instance, I remember one big one was while we were shooting the pilot, Julie's character, when she was doing the first couple of speeches, had this lovely hand-pulped paper. And a very early decision that had been made was, well, if you're reconstructing the world, do you bother recreating printing presses? That's an enormous output of energy. Or do you just hand pulp the paper? So Julie's character had that. But then we had to go across to the game and make sure there was no paper anywhere that existed in the game. And then when we went back out of pilot into series, I walked down the back lot on the first day and we'd changed our standby props department. And blowing down the street was all this newspaper because it looked so good. And I had to turn around to them and go, I'm so sorry, boys, you've got to go and pick every piece of paper up because paper don't exist anymore. Wow. So a lot of that mythology we create as we go. And then the hard part is keeping track of it all as you move forward in the series. But I think one of the most important compacts we make with our fans in science fiction is honouring that mythology and making sure that we always stick to it.
Yeah, I remember the Lost Guys saying that they had a guy who was strictly looking at the board, making sure everything, because people, especially now with Twitter and the internet, everyone is a critic and everyone can, be like, no, that's not going to work.
Well, speaking of Lost, I was at Comic-Con 2 years ago and these guys came up. They had a piece of the plane. They actually had a piece of the flight. And they'd bought it somewhere and they had every single actor who'd ever been on Lost's signature. They were only missing 3 and I was one of them. And they said, would you sign it? And I was there with something else. And I said, of course, you've gone to this much effort. So as I'm signing it, they said, when you're on the freighter in Lost, I played the captain of the freighter in Lost, and they said, when you're
Oh,
on
I
the
know that show in and out.
Oh yeah. So when you're on the freighter and you pulled out the flight recorder from the flight, and I went, yeah. I'm throwing my mind back 4 years. They said, and you picked it up and you put it on the table. I'm like, yeah. How do you remember that? And they said the flight recorder was burnt. And I went, right. And they went, if the plane went into the ocean, why was the flight recorder burnt? And I looked at them and I went, because the art department gave it to me that way. I have no idea. The fans knew more than I did. And I think with Defiance, it's the same thing.
Yeah, are you noticing that, especially walking around this weekend?
Oh, yeah, the fans know more than we do about our own show. Definitely.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's a great
just a thing.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
I've always said that it's so great to be part of a show where the fans are just as passionate about it as we are making it. And so to have that passion, people really watch it and they're studying everything about it. And it keeps us on our toes and it makes us love even more what we do.
Yeah.
That's a good closer. Love what we do. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. My
Hey,
pleasure.
I just want to rub your tickles.
You can do it.
Will you wag your tail?
Yeah. You can get out here now.
All right, I'll leave it to you alone.
Tickle, tickle.